Welcome back to the kickoff. Today we are talking the fallout of Liverpool versus Manchester City on the back of a week where Liverpool destroyed Real Madrid and Man City. They must be the best team in the world right now. So I've got one of the lads, blast from the past. It's Andy Grant, former podcast guest of mine and a die-hard Liverpool man. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a while. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you, mate. And you're always in Anfield. Always, I see you posting your stories, and definitely hoping for your lot to do a lot of resting in the next game. You've really proved your point now. Newcastle are up next. But let's talk about the game because Man City, after that, are now winless in 7 games, lads, and 6 defeats of those. And this wasn't even competitive, really, for the first 20 minutes or so. I mean, this was... for me, it was kind of like, fucking hell, what the hell are we watching here? Like, we've never seen this Man City team under Pep just get blown away and owned. Were users like I was just in shock for a bit?
100%. Mate, first 20 minutes, half an hour, like as you said, I thought Liverpool absolutely battered them. But then even when City got on the ball, even when they had the ball, tell me if you disagree, Andy, Liverpool looked like they were happy to give City the ball for a bit. Liverpool didn't look scared of City whatsoever. It looked like there was no threat. Even without Konate, that Liverpool defence looked completely chill with City having the ball. And it didn't feel like, I'll be honest, as an Arsenal fan, I've been waiting for this for fucking weeks. For weeks I've been going, wait till Liverpool play someone good. They're just beating the 2 Champions League winners of the last 2 years in 4 days without breaking a sweat.
They made it look easy. And do you know what? City played the game like a Sean Dyche side. Like, they played with fear and they were like, if we can hit you on the counter and grab something great, we're fully showing our horses here. They looked mentally broken from all the defeats they had. Like, they were beaten before a boot touched a blade of grass. What was it like for you watching it, Andy? You were there, right?
Yeah, I was there. I mean, I think the big thing for me, the atmosphere was great to start with, like it always is at the City games. And you can't go in there, though. The atmosphere is great, but you're nervous. You're thinking, fuck, this is Man City, this is Pep. And with Klopp, it's that football where it's end to end. Like you're saying yesterday, it didn't look like we were playing Man City, completely controlled the game. And this whole idea of injuries as well. Konate's been unbelievable for us. He's out injured, and that was my big worry. I was actually very stupidly, and I got a bit of shit for it on my own podcast for saying I'd take a draw, which sounds ridiculous now, saying I'd take a draw, because absolutely battered them. And like you say, I think the only chance they had was when Van Dijk gave it to De Bruyne, wasn't it? It was, and I think it's down to the midfield.
Yeah.
Midfield three that we've got is just, I think that's been the big difference this season, I think.
Also, you mentioned about the Klopp style of football being more basketball end-to-end stuff. Slot with that midfield 3, especially when Man City's midfield looks so weak and brittle, and aging with Gundogan as well. Like, without Rodri there, they're so vulnerable, and you guys just controlled it. Do you think Slot is controlling games more and is restricting that end-to-end stuff?
Yeah, I mean, again, listen, I'm never ever say a bad word about Jurgen Klopp, but I think the player he's got out of Ryan Gravenberch as well. I mean, he just looks like a completely different player. He wasn't even getting in the team under Klopp. And how technically he is, he's just unreal. And I think the difference in the midfield 3 that Liverpool had in Henderson, Wijnaldum and Fabinho was great as they were. It was very energetic. It was very run, cover every blade of grass. Whereas this front 3, they seem technically better. Even when you take one of them out and put Curtis Jones in, technically I'd say the better players, less running around, less energy, but so much more controlling. And I think that's what's kind of slowed the kind of basketball kind of style of play down. And we're just controlling games so much. A lot of the times Van Dijk or Trent to play those, long balls, whereas now it's going through the midfield. The midfielder controlling games, breaking things up. And it's probably a little less exciting, but listen, yesterday was exciting enough. I fucking loved it. It was great. So can't complain.
At half-time, lads, obviously this is a must-win game for Man City if they wanted to stay in the title race. Like, this was their only hope of clinging back onto something. At half-time, and I know I'm going to go to Josh on this because he loves a bit of XG, does our Josh. It was, he loves it.
I spend a lot of late nights with the XG charts.
He's on the WhatsApp sending me XG all the time. 1.76 for Liverpool, and to be fair, even then, on the eye, it looked like they could have scored 3 or 4 in that first half. 0.06 for Manchester City, Josh, at half-time. What do you make of that?
Well, the first thing that we have to discuss, Brian, is that Newcastle's entire XG of your match was 0.02. So to say that Man City only got 0.06 is actually pretty decent, 3 times more than Newcastle. So it was all right. But yeah, look, when you look at the stats, you see at the end of the game, it was 3.5 to 0.8. I cannot believe that it was so dominant. We're meant to be watching 2 of the best teams in the country. And for Man City to not even sort of really lay a finger on Liverpool with, and as Andy says, he hasn't even mentioned their first choice goalkeepers out. They've got, we know that Man City are in a bit of an injury crisis, but if they can't put a few passes together and get towards the goal and get a decent shot away with one of the best strikers that we've ever seen ever to play football. Let's be honest. Look at his stats. They're unreal. It is very worrying. And I think there's a general concern here about Man City is how reliant they were on those Haaland goals. Because without them, when he doesn't score, they're looking average. They're looking really average. So, I was very surprised.
How they got rid of Alvarez, I just thought that was mad. Because it's almost like, one, you're banking on Haaland never to get injured, and you're banking on him to score every game. And it's like, come on, he's either going to get injured or he's going to have a bad game. So how do you let Alvarez go in the summer? That just baffles me, that.
On the chances that were created, I felt like Gakpo is incredibly wasteful. I find him don't get me wrong. He's a player, but if he was a bit of a better finisher, my God, I was imagining Alexander Isak in that position because he must be looking for a way out of Newcastle right now. And I was just thinking, God, he would have it off in this Liverpool side. And in Salah, you kind of forgive Salah, but on that point that you've just made about Erling Haaland, to be fair to him, and this does actually, a lot of this comes off the back of him saying, stay humble to Mikel Arteta, and his career it's just a nosedive since that moment. Fuck me. His XG was less than Virgil van Dijk in that game. That speaks volumes. And you have to look at Pep's interesting decisions to start this game. Edison, for one, dropped. Didn't really make a difference. The defense is a shambles, whoever the fuck the goalkeeper is. I don't know if he thinks that he's not a calming influence anymore. But most of all, he brought on later in the game Kevin De Bruyne and Jack Grealish. And De Bruyne did get a chance. But you look at the lack of chances created for Haaland, for me, is actually part of the reason for it. I mean, Haaland's finish hasn't been great. Phil Foden has gone into hiding. Like, what the fuck has happened to this lad? We were singing his praises last season. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. He took over the Premier League. And now he's gone back to the same problems that we've said about him in the past, where does he need bigger players to carry him?
I think he needs creative players. I think that's one thing with Foden. I think for a long time we profiled him wrong, Foden. I think we thought of him as being the heir apparent to De Bruyne, this great chance creator. I don't think that's what he is. I think he's a finisher. I think a lot of the goals he scored last season were great shots from outside the box. Yeah. And I don't think he can ever be the primary creator in that midfield. Bernardo played yesterday, but the thing, you forget, Bernardo's getting on, man. Bernardo's getting older. And
they're all getting on.
They're all getting on, Josh. But I think what surprised me the most about Pep, Brian, you said there, this was a must-win game for City. You want to win the title, you have to go to Anfield and win. Look at that starting 11. Was that a must-win starting 11? Or was that I'm going to put a full-back on one wing and a holding midfielder on the other and try and not lose? That's what that game screamed of for me. And you talk about the midfield. Gundogan is in a retirement season, mate. That decision to bring him back now, it stinks. It stinks.
Yeah.
Jesus should be in the MLS or Saudi Arabia. The fact that he's doing it for Manchester City is a joke. And I will say, Mateus Nunes, right? They got him in from Wolves. He spent a season sat on the bench cleaning boots for people. I want to say that is a footballer. That is a player. And that's a proper midfielder. He's got legs. He can beat a man. Why are they wasting it? Josh, you're screwing up your face. Don't get me wrong. That was not a 9 out of 10 performance.
I thought it was one of the worst Man City performances I think I've ever seen. I was ready for him to just go. If I was a Man City fan, I'd just be selling him tomorrow. He was fucking awful.
Josh, put Caicedo right wing tomorrow. How does he get on at Anfield? He played him left
That's
wing.
The worst example ever, because Caicedo is the best.
This isn't about Caicedo, Josh. Stop it. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
The point I'm trying to make is, it just every time from Pep, and listen, Pep's the greatest manager to ever manage in the Premier League. Let's have it right. Probably in the world.
No,
right?
no.
It's just this, it's this galaxy brain nonsense. It's play Rico Lewis wide, play Mateus Nunes there. Well, for some reason, they've got wingers on the bench that can't get on the pitch. What the fuck was 100 million quid for Jack Grealish, by the way?
But you know what? I think
basically been a mascot for the past 2 seasons.
This is the time when I think you're going to see how good Pep is. I don't think he's the greatest manager, and that's not me being with my Liverpool hat on. I think, you know, when I'm going down a Pep Guardiola rabbit hole, he's Barcelona, he's had Messi, he walked into a Bayern team that won the treble, and he's come to City with all these charges and blah, blah, blah. This is the time now where you see how good he is. If he can get players to play in different positions, if he can start kind of, you know, deal with injuries, deal with this run of form, this is how you'll see how good Pep is now, because let's face it, every other manager has been through some sort of spell like this apart from him. So let's see how good he is now. That's the big thing for me.
On that, Andy, a great point made, because this is adversity, and it's the first kind of adversity because his squad has not, like, when he inherited that unbelievable squad and then added a lot of good players to it, it just felt like it would go on forever. And we're now getting to a point kind of where people said Klopp was, where you have to reinvent the squad. And we're seeing Liverpool are reinventing, not in all areas. They're still reliant on some legends, but Shearer made this point in Match of the Day. Foden hasn't scored in the league. Bernardo Silva hasn't scored in the league. Grealish hasn't. Gundogan hasn't. You know, there's a staleness about them. And when you're talking about Pep under pressure, nothing showed that more when they're singing to him. You're getting sacked in the morning. And when he turns around and does the 6 titles, I thought, oh my God, they've turned you into Jose Mourinho.
He's rattled.
You're melting.
Pep Guardiola is rattled.
No, the first thing that came to head is he's breaking here. This is a sign that they're getting, and not that he's like breaking just in that moment. But when he turned himself into Woogie from There's Something About Mary last week, when his fucking face was clawed to bits, and now there is signs that he is struggling with the first bit of pressure we've really seen him under, where he hasn't, this might be the first time in history where Pep Guardiola in a season doesn't have the best starting 11. Maybe, you know, so I think he's in real trouble.
The actual chance was actually you're getting sacked in the morning, and then it turns into he's going to scratch in a minute, which didn't quite get going as much, but it was good. And listen, I think Pep's always been rattled by Liverpool. I think there was that documentary where he was, I think Man City were playing Everton, and there was the clip where he's discussing Salah and Mane, you know, with Liverpool in like 2 weeks' time. You're seeing it. I don't know if you've seen it as well. One of his assistants come out and actually said, he was like, "Oh, I don't know much about this area in the UK, but I've been told that this isn't a good area," or something like that. He's like actually slagging off the city as well.
It was the keeper, Ortega.
Yeah. So it's like they are well and truly rattled, which is fucking great to see. I'm sitting here, feel like I'm still pissed. I'm loving life. Just how rattled he is. How fucking rattled he is.
Well, he should be, because Manchester United have a better goal difference than Man City. And Man United were the team that we laughed at all last season for how bad their goal difference was. I mean, that says it all when Eric Ten Hag has managed the majority of this season. And that's how bad. Can City actually blow top 4, lads, because they're not in the top 4. And one thing that you know, we look at the talent in a team and you wouldn't think so, but as a experienced loser at this table right now, more than you, lot, what I can tell you is
quote that
is true, Jordy, experienced loser. Thank you very much. Is that once you start losing games, and Newcastle are showing it right now, actually, it's very hard mentally to get 22 lads to all of a sudden start thinking differently. Once that rut sets in, it becomes a habit and a bad one. And nothing, you know, people can deny that, but they've lost 6 and 7 games and they've only drawn the other one. So is there a potential where this could really go somewhere where they're struggling to get top 4? What do you reckon, Jacob?
I'm looking for the refresh. I don't know about you boys. I'm looking for the refresh. I don't know, because to be perfectly honest with you, Brian, I'm wondering, and look, we all heard the noise this season that the points deduction's coming, right? That things are coming. Like, different to maybe some of you guys, I actually think the Pep contract is a sign that it is coming. I think that's a sign that it is. I think that's them trying to do good PR. And by the way, that contract hasn't been announced yet. We've had the Ornstein tweets. We haven't seen Pep stood there holding a Man City scarf yet. So let's hold our whole on that one.
True.
I think they're going to want to go big in January. I think they're going to look at Zubamendi from Sociedad, try and replace Rodri now, because Rodri isn't just injured, by the way. He's talking up a move to Madrid. This guy isn't just broken. He's looking at the way out of City. I just look at the rest of that team and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going, what's Pep going to do? What's the big tactical change? Drop Vardiol? for one bad game, whilst Walker turns up every week, Rico Lewis on the wing, Nunes wide left. I'm like, I don't know about you. I'm like, how do you fix this? And I did. Doku not playing, Savinho not playing, Haaland, I think 6 passes
Doku,
yesterday.
What a signing that's.
He's unbelievable.
I look at him.
Unbelievable. I don't know
actually,
what the fuck he's going to do next. He's like a broken remote control car. He just goes round. Like,
he really reminds me of Alan St. Maximin, but actually, I think St. Maximin was better. I don't actually.
That's harsh. That's harsh.
Yeah. No, I think he's got talent, but ultimately that signing, as many signings, it's not going the way he thought it was going to go, in my opinion. I think that was a bit of a mistake, actually, looking back at it.
I think also if we look at Man City as a whole, right, I do think there's an element, and maybe this in time people laugh at me for saying this, but I think there's an element in which they might be downing tools. We know that the court case is going on right now. There's obviously going to be stuff leaked to the players because, quite frankly, the agents need to know what's going on. The key thing with football clubs is they future plan, right? They think about stuff in 5 years' time, and the players' agents have to do the same because they've got to go, how am I going to engineer a move to get my client more money in this amount of time, right? So we know that this is coming. So they can only plan in sort of 6 months increments, right? Whether it's going to be this season or next season, it doesn't really matter because still the fact goes on. I think that there's an element, and I feel that we've seen this in the last 7 or 8 games, that the Man City players have gone, fuck, actually, this looks really serious. And I need to start thinking about what my next career move is going to be. Because that's the only real way you can explain it. Like Pep Guardiola's ineptitude doesn't just sort of result in 7 losses in a row. Like he's one of the best managers of all time. It doesn't happen that way. I think it's on a player level. And do you really? You think it's Pep Guardiola's fault?
Because I get what you're saying, that it looks like they're down tools, right? After Arsenal lost to Bournemouth a couple of weeks ago, I was asking questions about what's happened. Why has this team suddenly gone to shit? And I think sometimes you look at a manager, you look at the badge, you look at the shirt and you go, this is Man City. How are they losing games? Mate, look at the players on the pitch. Like actually look at those players on the pitch and tell me now, if they were super motivated, if they were signing lifelong contracts at City, could they beat Liverpool at Anfield yesterday? No, they couldn't. You're only as good as the 11 you put on the pitch. And I'm sorry, but when you've got Lewis at right wing, when you've got Nunes there, when you've got Foden, who, by the way, player of the season last season, I'm not sure he's ever had a place in a starting 11 at Man City. I'll say that now. Look, What is his position? What is Foden? Like, the defence. Like, I'm sorry, Kyle Walker shouldn't be playing for England, let alone Man City.
Kyle Walker's finished, isn't he? He's finished.
Right, he is finished.
Yeah.
So whether he knows there's a court case coming or not, I'm not having this down tools thing. There is a level to what the players can achieve, and they're not.
If you had a player going to Man City, would you still go there knowing that this court case is on the horizon? I mean, if they're going to sign someone in January, are you going to go there, or you're not, knowing that you could be playing?
And that's the thing. That's the thing. Why would anyone move there in January? If they're going to do this massive rebuild, how the hell can you convince anyone that this is going to be a stable thing? How are you going to convince people that you're going to be in the Premier League?
It's a good show, because I was wondering, given the Bruno Guimaraes interest that Pep Guardiola has shown, he right now their midfield looks piss weak. It would be a no-brainer for them to just get Guimaraes, like if this wasn't the case, you know. So I think that'll say a lot in January as well, because we're not going to know by then, are we? So if they start signing players in January and it's strong, which they should do, fuck me, that'll tell us a lot. Just to touch on Liverpool, they're 9 points clear, lads. Only one team in Premier League history at this kind of advantage has not gone on to win the Premier League. Newcastle United. We were 12 points clear at Christmas, lads. What the fuck? I still can't believe it. This was 20 odd years ago. What the fuck? What are we thinking? Cause I know that people will be questioning, are Liverpool going to quote unquote bottle it? 9 points, it isn't like insurmountable, but they should win the league. Does anyone think it's possible that they could slip?
Yeah, we definitely could slip.
What are you saying, Andy?
No, I probably think you put your hand up as well, Jacob. I think, yeah, it definitely could slip. I mean, I'm not getting myself too excited just because of, you've just seen how good City are. And I don't think City will be coming back, but, you know, we were talking before, me and Josh, I think Chelsea look good as well. I think Arsenal looking good. I don't think, anyway, I'm not allowing myself to get too carried away. I'm getting excited, yeah, and I'm buzzing. but I'm not kind of in the camp of we're going to absolutely piss the league, no.
Jacob, you're still holding on hope, yeah?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
The season tickets are too expensive.
I don't blame you. I'm just wondering why.
It's the hope that kills you.
While I'm paying £7 for a Camden Hills at the Emirates, I've got to have hope, mate, 'cause I've not got any fucking money. I do have hope for a few weeks. First of all, I look at Arsenal's run over the next 10, 12 games, basically until we play City at the end of Jan, and I think we could win all of those games.
You seem to have turned a corner with Odegaard coming back. You look back to your normal selves a bit.
Who knew having one of the best midfielders in the world makes you a worse team? I feel good about the direction Arsenal are going in. We might have left ourselves too much of a job.
Yeah.
In terms of Liverpool, I don't have many questions. I've got to be honest with you. They look like the best team in Europe right now. There's only a couple of things. First of all, we talk about their midfield. I think at the Emirates, we should have beaten Liverpool. And I think we lost. I say lost. It felt like a loss. I think we drew that game because we lost our defence. Magalhaes went off. We finished with a Carabao Cup defence of a teenager at left back, Kivior in there. And I think Liverpool should have beaten us really with the defence we had on the pitch. And I walked away from that game, from that head to head, saying my team should be beating that team and I don't want to lose a title to them. The other question I'd ask, Andy, I don't remember a situation like this where a team has been in your situation, top of the league, 9 points clear. Your three best players are potentially out of contract in June. I suspect Van Dijk stays. I also suspect Salah stays. I don't think you make those shitty comments in the mix zone if you're not trying to get a contract. I think he wants to stay and he's trying to get the right number on it. I think Trent's going to go. I think Slot's biggest challenge for the rest of this season is holding that dressing room together when you've got all that.
Yeah. I totally agree, Jake. I think that's why I'm not getting so excited, because you don't know how the mood in the camp will change as the contract situation becomes nearer to the end of the season. I think I'm hearing rumours that Trent was fully going, but now he's having a change of heart and he actually might stay. I think Van Dijk's definitely going to stay, and I think Mo will actually stay. I think Mo was a bit, don't know if you've seen Jamie Carragher, I agree with him. I think it was a bit naughty of him coming out there and kind of throwing it on the club, because you look at social media, everyone's saying FSG, give him the contract, give him what he wants. What if FSG come out and said, look, everyone, we all love Mo as well. We want Mo to stay. The problem is Mo's asked for 500 grand a week on a 5-year contract and we can't quite afford that. That would then turn the fans back on Mo, wouldn't it? So it's like, I think that's the only big thing that could derail Liverpool at the minute, just this contract situation. I think it will all get sorted and all three will stay. But I agree with Jacob. I think they've answered many questions. I think you said before, Brian, they've beat Madrid and City in a week. You can't doubt them much. It's just that lingering contract situation. I think that's the only thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, I do think that the fact that Liverpool haven't thrown it back on Mo Salah is clever of them. The last thing you want is to add fuel to this fire, let it die, focus on the games. It was a good negotiating tactic from Mo Salah, because he really is putting the pressure on. And apparently, what is he now? How old is he, lads? Can you remember?
33 in June.
Fuck me. Right. So allegedly he's asking for a 3-year deal from what I heard. Who knows if that's true. But again, at this age, is he worth a lot of money every week? Absolutely. But for how long? And that's what I worry about. And part of me thinks, in my opinion, this has been the best player Liverpool have ever had in the history of the club, from what I've seen in my life, right? Obviously, I don't know. Dalglish might have been fucking amazing, right? But the point is do you, out of loyalty, give him longer than what you really should get, because of everything else he's done and because of the fact that he's still carrying you right now? That's a decision that FSG have to make, and they're usually quite shrewd. So I think that's why they're leaving it. No one's showing each other their arse right now. And actually, even Saudi Arabia, who I heard a long time ago from links at Newcastle, were very interested in Mo Salah, in being part of the vision of that league. And look, it's a natural fit, right? But even they've said, we're not going to even talk to Mo Salah, go after Mo Salah, until he shows us he's actually willing to come. We're not going to be used as a pawn in this contract game. So it's not even like he's got, people he can sort of use in this moment. And I think that's going to be key. We pretty much covered that, lads. I think Liverpool, obviously title favourites now, but Arsenal and Chelsea just have to stay as far up their arse as humanly possible. Josh, just before we move on, are you sneakily fancying a little title challenger?
Right,
Chelsea?
let's just rule this out now. Like, obviously, Andy's being really polite and he's been trying to be nice. And also, I think he's a little bit worried about saying that Liverpool are going to win the title easily. Jacob obviously wants to justify the pints price, which fair enough. If he wants to do that, that's absolutely cool. But the title is over, lads. The title is done.
No.
Liverpool are not dropping. They're not going to drop 9 points and Arsenal win every single game, go invincible for the rest of the season. I know they've done that in the past. They're not going to do that this season. The title is done. Like, Man City were the only realistic challengers to Liverpool, realistically, especially with the way that Arsenal have started off. Like, Arsenal are a great team, but come on, we're not talking about title challenges now. They're way too far away. And to put Chelsea in there, I love it. I rate it. I'm chuffed about it. Thank you so much for considering us to be a decent team. But fuck me, we're nowhere near title challengers. I love that we're being involved in the conversation. And what a change it's been. But we are nowhere near title challenges.
We'll leave that one there. Don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to the Kickoff.